Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're talking about last night's fairly eventful Monday Night Raw. Eventful not just for what we saw on the screen, a new World Heavyweight Championship. We're going to talk about that new title, but also what was going on behind the scenes when one CM Punk was spotted backstage chatting up some WWE superstars. We'll get the scoop on that, and then also we'll talk about some changes made to the product last night, thanks to one Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
God damn it.
I'm not in the weeds. I am in the weeds. So we're going to talk about all that stuff on today's episode. But first, let's talk about one Phil Brooks incognito, maybe not, trying to get to
seemed like it. It seemed like he had the glasses and mustache disguise. No,
he really should have done the stilts and the trench coat,
yeah,
and the fedora.
Maybe he could have had Ace Steel with him, sat on Ace Steel's shoulders,
right? Yeah,
then
exactly.
The trench coat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, man, Punk, you
must
have had that.
Did you get that? Did you get that operation where they can make your legs longer?
They can add 3 feet to you, or 3 inches, whatever it is. Same thing. So CM Punk, yeah, the same CM Punk who seemingly is on the verge of returning to AEW this summer, made an appearance backstage at yesterday's Raw taping in Chicago. PW Insider broke the news initially, first reporting that Punk spoke to a number of people backstage, including briefly with Triple H, but was eventually asked to leave, with one source stating that it was at the behest of Vince McMahon. God damn it. Go away.
Get out of here, Phil.
Get out of here, Phil. You're never going to be the guy. Fightful Select had a follow-up, adding that sources told them that Punk chatted with Tamina, Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and The Miz. Sources also confirmed that Punk had a short chat with Triple H, who was surprised that Punk was there, where Punk asked Triple H if he could stay. Triple H responded that he'd have to double check, and shortly thereafter, Punk was asked to leave by WWE's head of security, with Fightful noting that Punk was, quote, under the impression that it was a Vince McMahon call. Fightful Select also reported that, quote, numerous wrestlers in WWE believe that the move was a publicity stunt for a return to AEW soon. There were several AEW talent in disbelief when they heard that he was backstage at Raw. While it was mentioned by one talent that Punk seemed to be making amends, they also noted that he could have done that in any other capacity, and WWE could have gotten a heads up and been prepared for him to be there.
Just popped in.
Let's pause there.
Yeah.
So showed up, trucked backstage, which apparently anybody could do, I guess.
Yeah, I guess if you're with a wrestler, you can just waltz right in. Yeah.
Yeah. And he chatted up to Miz, who famously they've had some crosswords with each other, both on social media and in documentaries. And he chatted up apparently the Game himself.
Yes.
And said, hey, is it cool that I'm here? And then Paul was like, hold on, let me double check, make sure it's okay. Yeah, I'll get back to you. Get him out of him. He's with the other people. And then they went, Phil, come on, this way.
Yeah.
There's a very important person that wants to see you through that door labeled exit. Oh, really? Is
really?
It
oh, who could that be?
Who could that be? Tumbleweed flies by.
Yeah, no. Turns to open the door again. It's locked. It's locked from inside.
Yeah. So PW Insider had some follow-up reports where it was mentioned that Punk chatted with Miz in order to clean the air and had some additional details.
Clear the air. Clean the air makes it sound like it's an air purifier, Steve.
Hey, Miz, have you heard about climate change? Let's talk about ozone.
You tried one of those Dyson's air purifiers?
He meant he was there.
They look like a raw gate, but man.
He was there to clear the air and add some additional details of how Punk ended up backstage. Apparently, Punk was flying from Florida, where he was doing some MMA commentary, to Chicago and found himself on the same flight as several WWE talents. During the flight, he found out that Raw was in Chicago and arrived at the venue with some wrestlers. according to PW Insider. It was like that time that Colt Cabana showed up with Chaos for that tribute, and he was like, "Oh, I thought it was all the wrestlers. No, it was just Chaos." And found himself on the same flight as several. So according to PW Insider, Punk remained in the common area with other wrestlers, and it was there that he chatted with Triple H, asked if he could remain, and if Triple H had some time to talk. Triple H responded he had to make sure it was okay with the big guy.
Oh, right back.
Yeah, okay. About 20 minutes later, Punk was asked to leave. According to PW Insider, Punk wasn't there to inquire about the possibility of returning to WWE. PW Insider did add that, quote, one person under contract WWE who saw Punk there said it came off as if Punk was just trying to kill whatever past heat there was between himself and Miz, and theorized that may have been why he wanted to speak with Paul Levesque as well. What do you make of all this?
CM Punk Apology Tour 2023, man.
To what end? Why?
That I don't know.
Why does he care?
I don't know. I mean, is this a situation where Phil has looked in the mirror and taken some time to reflect on his career, on his reputation, on the perception of CM Punk in the wrestling world, and is trying to make amends for it? You know, on the eve, if you will, of his return to AEW.
Could be.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Don't know. I don't know CM Punk. I don't know Phil Brooks. I don't know his motivation behind all this. I have no idea. I mean, it gets people talking. It gets people talking about.
Definitely true.
Keeps him in the news.
Definitely true.
And while this might not be a coordinated thing by a stretch of the imagination to hype up his return to AEW, I mean, this Punk went there, I'm sure, knowing full well that people are going to talk about it.
Well, here's the thing. The Dax FTR podcast just ended, so there's no outlet there for Punk to get his info out. Maybe this is a way to do that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe, look, it's one of two things. Either, it's sometimes in old age you reflect and you're like, you know what? I got fewer days in this business ahead than behind, obviously. So, and I kind of felt bad about being a dick to Miz because he never hurt nobody. Let me go say sorry to him. And on top of that, hey, Triple H, you know what? I think we probably would have made a great WrestleMania main event after all. I'm sorry I was such a prick back then. I don't know. Maybe it was that, or maybe he just wanted to get some attention. Who knows? Kind of a funny story, kind of a weird story.
It is.
But yeah, whatever. It's always fun to talk about this stuff. It's good for a giggle.
It is good for a giggle. It's non-news because it's not like he's knocking on the door of Triple H's office like, hey, can I get a contract?
Can I get a contract? I need a big
He's not trying to get a job there.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't seem like.
Yeah.
If this was just as impulsive and as impromptu as it's put here in the PW Insider thing, was just like, oh, Raw's in my hometown. I have a ride there or whatever. Oh, sure, I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll go say hi.
Yeah.
You know, the first time he stepped foot in the building that WWE's running a show in since 2014. So who knows?
Yeah. Heather Wright here in our YouTube chat says, I'm sick to death of the Punk news. Oh my, Heather, I'll be honest with you. But here's the thing. It makes for a really good thumbnail.
Yeah, it does. It does.
All right, man. Let's talk about Vince McMahon and all the changes he made to Raw last night. What's going on with that?
So, there have been some reports that Vince has been involved at kind of like a higher level, as he put it, making changes to BTV remotely ever since he ran that absolute dumpster fire that was the Raw After Mania.
Ooh, that was a stinker.
This year. That was with Vince at the helm. So the PW Insider reported yesterday prior to Raw that while Vince wasn't in Chicago, that, quote, there have been some major changes to tonight's Raw script. We are told the changes are being made remotely at Vince McMahon's request. PW Insider later mentioned that Vince changed the finishes of several matches and seemingly replaced a Piper Niven versus Candice LeRae bout, which was listed on Fightful Select's Raw Rundown, with Street Profits versus Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, which wasn't listed on Fightful Select's rundown of Raw last night. PW Insider also noted that, quote, a number of segments featuring the women's division were cut from the show, including one with Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville, and others.
Kind of interesting, and seemingly what we can expect from now on. I'll be honest with you, man. I didn't think Raw was all that bad last night. I thought it was actually a pretty decent episode.
Yeah, it was fine.
I mean, you and I have had some issues with the creative lately sort of spinning its wheels, and I'm not going to say that it it reinvented the wheel or nothing. But I thought all things being, I watched most of it live. And usually if it's one of those, it's like insufferable, like the Raw after Mania, we were stuck there.
Yeah.
We were stuck. But I guarantee you, if I was not watching that on a stream, the Raw after Mania, by the time Omos and Elias showed up and had a 2-minute match, I'd have been like, oh, this is bad. I'm not going to watch this live. I'm going to speed run it later. Last night I watched the thing live. I wasn't even really doing other stuff while I was watching it live. I was like actually watching it.
You're waiting for CM Punk to show up. That's why.
Yeah, right. But no, dude, I thought it was like a decent episode. I mean, look, I don't like the general idea that they would be cutting segments from the women's division. I will say this though. The Street Profits versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, that being a match, I'll put it this way. I don't know it seemed for a second like they were going to push Piper Niven. I don't know if that's going to be the case. If they obviously have to put it on TV if that's going to be the case. Street Profits, they might break them up. And if that's the case, if they end up breaking up the Street Profits and they're going to give them like 1 or 2 matches in advance of that to remind the people, hey, these guys they're well decorated. They've been around for a while now, and it's kind of a big deal that we're going to break them up. If the idea is let's hold off on the Piper Niven matches until after the draft, and then we can build her up. And instead, let's start putting the Street Profits out there because we're about to break them up, and it's going to be a big emotional thing. I can maybe kind of understand that. I mean, I'm just trying to make sense of what I'm seeing right here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as poorly as the women's division has been booked of late, cutting any segments and not trying to tell stories outside of the title picture seems like a foolish move.
Yeah,
you should be focusing more time on the women's division, developing and telling stories. They're not less time and less stories, but who knows what's motivating these changes? As you mentioned, maybe it could be something to put the spotlight on Street Profits if it's if their time as a team is running out.
I mean, if you're going to cut anything, cut that god-awful long Austin Theory promo that stopped the show dead.
Yeah, I know.
He did burn Bobby Lashley pretty good, though. You ain't got a match at Mania if you're so good at putting matches together.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, otherwise it was a really long promo. But, of course, let's talk about this now. Diving into Raw.
Yeah.
The new World Heavyweight Championship. The first champion. So this is what Triple H comes out. I got an announcement that's going to shake the foundation of Monday Night Raw, of the WWE. And he says, basically, Roman never fights. He's contractually obligated to not fight very much. And we want somebody who fights.
Hold on. He's like, Roman never fights. He's contractually obligated not to fight that much. And when he does fight, he wins all the time.
Yeah, right. He's like, we need somebody who's not going to be booked to win all the time. And so whatever brand Roman ends up on SmackDown, the other brand, Raw, needs a champion, a fighting champion. And so we're going to put this new title out there. The World Heavyweight Championship is back. It's just not the big gold belt, but it looks like the big gold belt. And like, I don't know, the current Intercontinental Championship might have done, had some love making and made a baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, look at these, like that scene in what was the movie where the cars were fucking?
Southland Tales. Yeah,
those cars having sex.
What a terrible movie that was.
It did feature cars fucking though. So number one, first and foremost, the least important aspect of this, what the belt looks like. Larson, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it looks like, they took the old World Heavyweight Champion. Not quite an exact replica, but pretty darn close.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, take the center WWE logo from the Intercontinental title, just smacked it right in the center of it.
Right there.
So a couple of the latest belt designs. I'll go back to the U.S. title specifically. And now this. Like, the relief on it is really thick.
I love that. Yeah. I like that U.S. title's got like 5 different layers to it. It's amazing.
It does. It looks really thick, but I don't know. In my mind, that means this is what I think, and then maybe this isn't a common occurrence for most people. I see that U.S. title and this because it's very bulbous. The new title is very bulbous.
Bulbous is a good word. Yeah.
The globe on it, where the WWE logo is, it sticks out quite a bit, and it's very spherical and round.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of depth to it. Here's the thing about it, though. Is in my mind, because like you get most belts and they're solid plates.
Yeah.
They're solid metal plates that are affixed to the leather strap.
Yeah.
This, where they're so thick, I feel like they're hollow. And when I think of them being hollow, it makes me feel like they're cheap.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
That's it.
All right. Yeah, I generally like the title. I think that it's funny because like when he unveiled it, number one, people say they slapped a big W on it. No, they slapped the company logo on it. Like it's the company logo. And on top of that, they didn't do it nearly as big as the other titles where it's all logo. It's just giant logo. So it's smaller. I got 2 minds about it. On camera, I think it looks great. I really do, because the silver kind of blends in a little bit with the gold. Like it's not that noticeable. The black aspect of it, like in the world and in between the W's, has like the texture to it or whatever. When you look at the render of it on the website, it looks uglyish. It's like a toy. Like the silver and gold are very contrasty. And so if you just made the entire thing, the entire front of it, no silver, no black, just gold, I thought it would look, that would look amazing. And when you see it practically, it kind of looks like that. Like it doesn't look super gold or nothing.
I will
but
say
like
this:
you can kind of
the render, the PNG they put out after the fact look less bulbous than live on camera.
Yeah, you know the
flatter.
The render they put out there, it looks like one of those. Get your fantasy football team a trophy. It just looks cheap as shit. But the actual title itself, I think it looks pretty sharp. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
as always, though, in the end, like I actually wasn't a fan of the new U.S. title when it debuted, but it's really grown on me. I think that thing looks amazing now.
The design is really good. It is really good. It just looks like it's hollow.
I don't get that from it, but I can understand your point of view.
Because it's got at least a half inch of, like, the main plate is like a half inch off the actual.
Man,
belt.
I want my titles to be like as thick as a fucking pipe.
You want a toaster on there, pretty much, right?
I want, yeah. I want that to be thick. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, look, in the end, it's what they do with it that's gonna really matter. Like if you look at Gunther now with that Intercontinental Championship, that shit fits him, and he has elevated that title into something that people really want. And that goes a long ways. The World Heavyweight Championship, the new one, I think it's great. I know that there's a lot of crowing, and I feel it about the lineage aspect of it. Good luck sorting that out.
Well, there's a couple things we need to sort out. There's a lot to sort out. So the way Triple H framed it last night is that Roman will remain the undisputed Universal Champion, which seems to indicate 2 belts.
Yeah, WWE and Universal.
Like he's going to, until we see otherwise, with him just walking out with the Universal title, in my mind, he's still got both belts.
Yeah, right.
Which is strange. And then you'd think, well, the lineage will kind of remain split in that sense.
Until they fuse those titles
Until they
together.
fuse them, and then the lineages, I suppose, will be fused. The way he kind of presented this new belt, it's hard not to think of it as consolation prize. You couldn't beat Roman? Well, you can have this one. And I know Seth did all he could to prop up the new belt as on equal footing.
Mm-hmm.
But, if the rationale behind creating this new belt is no one's beat Roman, Roman's not around enough to defend it all the time, hence we need a new belt. Like if he just said, we got a draft here, we got a brand split, SmackDown's going to have their own champion, Raw needs to have their own champion. Whatever show Roman goes to, that's their champion. We're creating a new champion here on this show, without mentioning that Roman's beaten everybody.
Yeah, I mean, look, I from him saying that, I got more out of it. I got him saying this guy beat everybody in front of him, but he also doesn't wrestle that much, and we want to see more wrestling. That was a subtext that I got from him talking about everybody he beat. I mean, I feel you, but I don't know. I've seen the take online that this is a consolation prize. I kind of disagree with it. I think that look, we need a harder brand split. That's the thing. If they're gonna do this, that brand split needs to be firm. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do.
Enough crossover.
But I guess the feeling is with Roman having the belts for 1,000 days, he's going to feel like the champion in the company.
Oh yeah.
And this other belt's going to be the B belt. It is.
So that's always the thing about. You're right. That is always the thing about having two different brands. It is rare. It is rare that I think I did a WrestleJuice video or something on that like ages ago. It is rare that you've got two champions across both brands that are on equal footing. There is always that sort of ebb and flow. As long as Roman is undisputed champion, he is firmly a champion. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But if this, given he's not going to be defending at Backlash, for example, and when both titles are on the pay-per-views, guess what? Roman's going to be main eventing. And if they try to do a Survivor Series shit again, guess what? He's going to clown the other guy, call him B champion. And you can't do that kind of shit. You cannot do that kind of stuff.
Nope.
I mean, that's why I think Seth is probably going to be the first world heavyweight champion of the new era, because he can actually claim, I got the win over Roman Reigns. I got it by him beating the shit out of me too much, and it was a DQ.
Win, yeah.
But he can claim that. And him really look, Seth Rollins has the ultimate win over Roman Reigns because he's the guy who betrayed him in the first place. Yeah. So Seth always has that thing over him. And so having Seth be champion while Roman is doing whatever they're doing with Roman would be a smart move because there is a bit more parity between the two of them.
Yeah.
If it's somebody that Roman has already beat, if it's Drew McIntyre, if he comes over to Raw and he wins this, guess what? He is going to feel like the B champion because Roman Reigns gave him cry face a couple of years ago when they did that.
Calling him the B champion, yeah.
Right. If it's Cody just got his ass whooped at WrestleMania. It should not be Cody. Cody needs to follow Roman to SmackDown.
Yeah.
And beat him over there at WrestleMania 40.
Yeah. I mean, if Cody doesn't win the title with the lineage, then it's a bit of a hollow victory. Because that's his motivation for coming back is trying to win the belt as it exists now that his dad never got. And that's not this new title. That's not the Universal title. That's the WWE title.
You're 1,000% right. John E.G. here in YouTube chat says, did you hear the news of exclusive brand premium live events? I had not heard any rumor about that.
That was from Worked Wrestling, I believe.
Okay.
But
I have an okay record.
So I'd seen that, yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm so tuned out of wrestling news. Twitter is such a cesspool, man. So I get my notes from you.
I'm your number one news source. I'm the Wrestling Observer going in wrong.
You are that, dude.
It just makes me wonder, and I get you don't want to take a belt away from Roman. I understand that. But the idea of just bringing somehow the WWE title over to Raw, which is going to be, and then you have the lineage title there, and you have Cody's story of trying to win it. That would at least lend it a lot more legitimacy and a lot more importance than a completely made-up belt out of the gate.
Man, I don't know. I don't know that I don't know that I agree with that. I don't, because you're just gonna take the title off him.
No, I don't think that's a good idea to take the title off Roman.
But I'm just saying, how would you have done it then?
I don't know. There's no good way of doing it.
Oh, okay.
There's no good way of doing it, and if they are like, well, there's no good way of doing it, let's just fabricate a brand new title. Fine. Yeah. But I'm just saying, in a perfect world, if someone could come up with a good and right and true explanation of why they take the title off Roman, that would probably be the ideal way to go. I agree. Keep the titles more so on equal footing.
I hated every scenario that anybody came up with, though, and that sort of is the problem. It's like put him in a triple threat, then he doesn't have to lose it. Well, that's stupid. Like, he should have to lose it for dramatic effect. I've seen online people say, "Oh, this is why Cody should have won a WrestleMania." Then you split how would you split the titles then? If you win shit, you should have to lose it for it to be split, and they're not going to have Roman lose anything right now.
No.
But I don't like the idea of creating a brand new title because it restarts the lineage, and I like the lineage stuff. So I don't know. It's a shitty situation. they should have him, defend the title more. That's why I thought it'd be cool for Cody to win at Mania, have both those titles, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a fighting champion," and it bites him in the ass because now you got to defend this on both brands, multiple times a month.
Yeah.
And then he would lose it. But I understand from business perspective why they want to keep the titles on Roman as well. He's a draw. Yeah. He's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, they invested so much in building up Roman as top guy. And now he's finally there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna kind of give that up anytime soon. So Guardian Ape has a super chat here. It says, "Hey, friendos, appreciate work immensely. From most wanted to least wanted, rank these 5 guys for new champions." So that's something we had talked about doing.
Oh, perfect.
So now seems like a good time to do it. Guardian here lists Seth, Drew, Edge, Finn, and Sheamus as the 5 names to kind of power rank. I guess let's do it a couple different ways. We could power rank with these 5 names and do our own 5.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I think of these 5, I would have 1 Seth.
Yeah, right.
2. Gosh, I feel like there's Seth and then the huge gap.
So here's
Seth, Edge, Finn, Sheamus, Drew.
Wow, Drew last, huh?
Yeah.
I would do this. I would do Seth. Okay. I would do Seth if it's this 5, Seth, Drew, Finn, Sheamus, Edge. You know why Edge is last? He got stacked by Roman Reigns. I like Drew because Drew's never had a title in front of people. And that's such a damn shame. And I know that he got humiliated by Roman, but it was a couple of years ago during pandemic era. You can't really blame him from that. And then I actually like my personal favorite that I would love to see out of all these people to win this thing first is Finn Balor. But he just lost clean against Cody last night. I thought when I first saw this, because I did actually miss the first 10 minutes live. I went back and rewatched the promo between Cody and Finn this morning. And Finn I was like, oh, this is going to be a cool feud after Brock. But no, they just had a match and then Cody won clean. Yeah. So I don't know.
The second time he's beat Finn already.
But I would love for Finn to get that world title. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And when he lost against Roman, it wasn't because of Roman. It was because the turnbuckle broke.
Yeah, it was because of act of God, essentially.
Right, exactly. So, out of everybody on the roster, power rank, let's give our top 5.
Okay.
That we want to see. If we were given the book, this is what we would do.
Yeah. All right, let me think a bit here.
Yeah. Let's see here. And Roman can't be an answer.
Yeah.
Because this is specifically designed to be away from Roman. That would be amazing, though.
All right.
Let's see here. I mean, I'm trying not to be goofy with this, but I want to say LA Knight or Dom. Yeah. I really want to say those names, but I can't because can we do another one where we're going to be goofy with it?
Sure, we can do a goofy list too. Dom, and Dom.
Dom, Von Wagner. Let's see here. Actually, this would be these are the 2 good ones. This guy. These are, the 5 that he gave us are actually really good.
Yeah, they are pretty good. Those are good names.
All right. I think I've got mine. Oh,
okay.
You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna swap this out. Put this one. Oh, those are good. That's a good 5. And I'm keeping Brock far away from my shit too, man. I don't need to see that again. All right. So what are your 5, dude?
Number 1, of course, Seth Rollins.
My number 1 as well, yeah.
It just makes too much sense, I think.
It does.
To have him, especially after his promo last night, it makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I got Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, he's my number 3, yeah.
He never lost the title when he had it.
Mm-hmm.
He got knocked out Elimination Chamber match. Brock won that. Eventually led to the unification. 3, you want to establish Montez Ford as a huge single star?
Whoa!
Have him win that title.
I like it.
4. This will never happen. This would pop me huge if it did. Gunther. He's got both those titles.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then 5, this would really feel like a consolation prize, but I think the crowd would be into it. Sami Zayn.
Oh, okay. All right. I like that.
He doesn't beat Roman,
good.
but he ends up getting the championship belt.
Super consolation prize.
Maybe he beats Jey Uso to get it or something. I don't know. If they have a tournament or something.
Yeah. It needs to be not any of the guys that Roman just beat over the last 6 months. That's the thing. Like, it can't.
That's the tough spot. I know.
Yeah.
Because then it could feel like a consolation prize. I know.
Yeah, right. All right. So I've got my number 1, of course, is Seth. Here's the thing about that, though, and this is one thing that kind of bugged me about last night. Is Seth turning into too much of a babyface? I feel like he needs to stick to being kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
And less, I'm going to make this a fighting championship and I'm going to be such a good champion. No. You got to stick to what got you there.
Yeah.
Being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
People like that.
Yeah.
And they'll still chant, they'll sing your song, stop being a good guy.
Yes.
Just be you, and then you'll be a good guy.
Exactly.
So Seth's my number 1. My number 2 is Drew McIntyre. I think that he needs that title in front of people, man. My heart breaks for that guy.
Yeah, that was a bummer that his huge coronation moment didn't happen in front of a crowd. I know.
Number 3, Bobby Lashley. You made a great point there. Number 4, Rey Mysterio. He's fucking hot right now, man. He is hot. And remember, I was reminded as I did a Wrestle Juice video yesterday about like worst WWE champions, and I forgot that he had like a 2-hour reign, and then John Cena took it back from him. So I'm gonna say Rey Mysterio because I think he's hot right now, and who knows how much time he's got left. And then my number 5, big month time, Amos. Come on, cowards. Come on. That's a dude Roman Reigns never beat. And it's a big question mark. He has that world title. You don't visit Roman versus Amos. It's a guy, hey, I think this guy probably could beat Roman Reigns. You know? Have him beat Seth at Backlash, have him be the world champion guy. Amos.
All right.
There you go. Do it.
I'd be excited about that. Hey, do you have a goofy list too?
Yeah, kicking off my goofy list is Amos.
Number 1 goofy list has to be LA Knight.
No, number 1 on the goofy list is totally Dom. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the shitstorm that would occur if Dom Mysterio was the first world heavyweight champion? If they had him versus Ray for that title, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be Ray's moment. He's gonna be world champion." No, Dom wins. Oh my god.
That'd be something else. I have Dom on 3rd on my goofy list. Number 2, Uncle Howdy.
That's so goofy.
It is the goofy list. 4 on my goofy list, I have Grayson Waller.
Oh, no.
And then 5, I have Rick Boogs.
Oh, man. I didn't even think of Boogs. That's a great one. I love it. He just sort of stumbles his way into winning it.
Accidentally wins it, yeah.
I love how confused Rick Boogs is. It's like my favorite thing in the world. He was like, okay, are you paying? Because he wanted to know the rules of the draft last night.
Yeah.
And Elias has to bring Gable over because he's a smart guy to explain it. But in order for Boogs to understand what he was saying, he had to do one of those bendy flex things, whatever those things are.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but yeah.
He's so confused always. It's amazing.
He really is.
That's good stuff. Real quick here. I'm Just Trying to Do Something is now a YouTube channel member for 25 months. We've got 385 channel members, and I want to say thanks to all of you. Holy crap, we've got 815 people watching now on YouTube.
Do us 112 likes, too.
Do us a solid. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. I'm Just Trying to Do Something says, Cody gets drafted to opposite brand from Roman, wins Money in the Bank to officially challenge Roman. That's an idea right there. But then why wouldn't he just go after the world? Well, I guess because he's targeting Roman.
It's the lineage title. He wants the lineage title.
He's like, I don't want this. I don't want this new.
He wins the world heavyweight champion, just throws it in the trash.
He's like, it's too bulbous. He throws it away.
Too bulbous. Looks like a toy.
Title. Yeah. I don't want this.
Why is it hollow? Starts knocking on it. Why is this hollow?
Is there something in it? There's some candy inside of it, perhaps.
Is the real title inside this one?
Yeah.
Also
hidden treasure map in here.
Yeah, I know. Huge announcement from Bad Bunny last night. He's not hosting Backlash anymore.
Nope. He's going to host an ass whooping. Yep. He's going to host an ass whooping of Damian Priest.
Yep. Not the tag match, kind of surprisingly.
He's doing a street fight instead. Street fight is the kind of thing because you don't really run ropes or nothing. You just go mill about and you hit people with kendo sticks.
Yes.
And you wear some jeans.
Yeah. Bad Bunny did all those things last night.
He did. He had jeans. He had a kendo stick. And he milled about a lot. That was kind of surprising. I think it's awesome. I think it's a good change. I don't care about a tag match. I think it's kind of neat. He's pissed off at his friend. He thought it was his friend. He thought Priest was his friend.
Hold on, Steve. This isn't any tag match. This is going to have Dom Mysterio in it.
They'll still do that, though, right? You think they'll still do that? Dom versus Ray 2, and Dom wins that one, and then Bad Bunny wins, so Judgment Day splits. You would think.
Who knows?
Was Dom on the show last night?
He was there, wasn't he?
Was he seconding Priest? I thought Finn was seconding Priest last night. Was he there?
I don't remember him being there. Is this a...
Because Ray was in the main event. And that went to a DQ, but I don't remember.
Yeah, he was in the backstage interview.
Oh, Rick. Okay, Rick says he was in the backstage. Okay. All right.
Yeah, he was in the backstage interview.
Yeah,
remember him being on the show.
I just like whenever Finn even mentioned Dom last night in the promo at the beginning and crowd just starts raining down boos.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, might as well jump into it because it did open up with Cody and Finn.
Mm-hmm.
So Cody's talking about, I'm not going to go into this verbatim because it's very long. But he's talking about, hey, I can end up on Raw or SmackDown, the draft. But I got an unenviable task of slaying the beast. It says Brock Lesnar's most decorated combat sports athlete of all time, which is ironic because he waited till my back was turned to attack me, and then he rips off his shirt and points to his scar where he had.
He didn't rip it off. He very methodically unbeat.
Sorry, yes.
But then I was like, oh, if he's not gonna rip it off because it's an expensive shirt. But then he just chucks it in the crowd.
Yeah. So why not rip it off?
Somebody can, one of the fit people in the crowd can use.
Someone who's the exact my same size. That's probably a tailored shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Can actually wear this. So he takes his shirt off, yes, and points to his scar and says, "Here, last time I was in this arena was the Hell in a Cell match after I tore my pec. You see this scar? Here, Brock, give me another.
Yeah.
Anywhere. I dare you. Do it.
Do it, coward.
Do it."
Yeah. So, and then he wants to thank, because of course the Hell in a Cell 2022, where he got the big match with the torn pec, that was in Chicago. And so he wanted to say, hey, you know what? The only reason I won that match is because y'all propped me up on your shoulders and carried me there against Seth Rollins. And I didn't get a chance to say this, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Chicago. Y'all are the best. And then Finn Balor's music hits, and he says, man, you got screwed. I saw you had Roman beat at WrestleMania, but you got screwed. But you maybe wouldn't have had you been rolling with the purple, with the Beam Team, with Judgment Day. And he's like, I wasn't there to have your back. He's like, come on, there's nothing you and I can't do together if you join Judgment Day. Think about it. Rhea Ripley, SmackDown Women's Champion, Damian Priest putting the biggest music star straight through the table, and Dom Mysterio. And I'm like, boo. And he's like, Dom has proven he's far greater than his father ever was, which is something you should try, Cody. And he's like, Cody's like, they always have a dig with the dusty stuff. He says, you made a mistake at WrestleMania. Don't make the same mistake at Backlash. Let us have your back. And Cody says, you want me to be part of Judgment Day. He says, but hold on a second. And the crowd had been chanting, you suck, to Finn. And he's like, okay, I hear you guys. He says, look, man, I'm not looking to get into a fight, but I appreciate it. And respectfully, I will not join. I must decline. And Finn gets pissed off and says, oh, that's a shame. Either you're with us or you're against us. He says, you got to watch your own back because someday I'm going to slap the bleach out of your head. And he says, I'm smiling right now. He says, because you must be under the impression after the beatdown I suffered, you think that I'm not medically cleared to compete tonight. But what you don't know is that a few hours ago, I totally was cleared to medically compete tonight, and I can't think of a better way to medically compete. Yeah. And I can't think of a better message to send to Brock than for me to beat you up. And meanwhile, Finn's face is like, oh no, he is cleared to medically compete.
Question:
And,
what does a medical competition look like? Is that a Dr. Thackeray type deal?
Dude, you're in a theater, you get a surgeon 1, surgeon B, or it's surgery on yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
who
about.
can remove a kidney? No, that's not how you do kidney stones. Who can remove
the appendix or something the quickest?
The appendix,
Own surgery, yes.
Appendectomy or whatever.
Appendectomy, yes. Medically
seemingly, I had a self lobotomy to my recently. Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah.
So then, that segment ended. Then we had tag match, the Bloodline versus the LWO, and all the LWO does apparently is lose. They got a new theme song.
So
they still lose.
Yeah, so here's the problem, is that, number one, they got to not be depth guys anymore, because clearly they're depth guys.
Yes.
But, like, they sort of lost their identity when they stopped being Legato, because now they're just like Legato with LWO paint on them. And they need to, like, they got, like, the Viva la Raza in front of their theme music now, and they got a new theme song, which is cool. But, like, we need to hear from them. We need to understand, okay, what is their deal now that they're LWO? Because simply they're just guys to eat Rey Mysterio's pins.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they are. Mm-hmm. They need their own identity, and I kind of feel for them because they lost that.
Yeah, they did. Santos was the leader of his own faction, and now he's, top lieutenant in a faction, but lieutenant nonetheless,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they definitely need to reestablish an identity. That's for sure. As characters and what motivates them.
This is a good point. Hypocrisy Jones says, to be frank, LWO always lost in WCW too, which is kind of true as well. Like, Eddie was the only guy who was ever not eating pins in the LWO.
Well, but wasn't the idea behind the LWO was like, this is Eddie's faction, so Eddie could use them to get victories?
I guess, but then whenever they had their own matches, they would just lose.
Yeah, but why would Eddie care about that?
Well, I'm saying Ray should care about that.
That's what I'm saying too. I agree.
Yeah. So,
but anyways, LWO lost here.
Mm-hmm.
Solo hits Cruz del Toro with the spike, and then the Usos follow with the 1D to get the win.
Yes, and then after that, after the match, Jay says the longest reigning champs had one bad night. We let down the Bloodline, but guess what? Jimmy says, this week on Friday, we become 9-time tag team champions, and we're going to dedicate this W. He says, this victory is to you, our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. So in his name, they're going to win that tag match, but the problem is, in his name, they're going to lose, and that's probably going to make Roman even more mad, because he's like, you dedicated that match to me, but it was
you're going to invoke my name.
He's like, no, I didn't lose. That's what he's going to say. He's going to be like, my name's on that match? No. I didn't lose.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
You lost.
So then we got a Bianca Belair interview. Kathy asks her about Io Sky challenging her at Backlash. And Bianca says, I'm excited. Io has proven herself a worthy competitor, but am I always ready? And then Bayley walks up and says, well, you better stay ready to count down those days till that title is ours. And Bianca says, I didn't hold this for 386 days because I was scared of a little competition. And Bayley says, I'm not saying you're scared of competition, but you've never been in a title match with Io Sky. She's honed her craft all over the world. And then Io speaks in Japanese, and Dakota says, that means Io wants to face you tonight. Mm-hmm. And Bayley says, and like Bianca's like, let's do it. And then Bayley says, no, we all want to beat you up. And you got to find out, you're going to have to go find 2 other losers to get beat up with. And Bianca says, I was talking to Io, but if you 3 want to fight, then I'll see you 3 tonight. And then Bayley calls her a champion of honor while Bianca and Io stare at each other. That sets up a 6-woman tag match later on the show.
Io did not seem very happy about Bayley stepping in and stepping on what I think Io was like, I want this one-on-one match. Mm-hmm. And then Bayley's like, we're going to all beat you up. And Io was like, the fuck?
Yep.
Like that. Backstage, Jay is talking on the phone. And he walks up, and Sami Zayn is back there. Sammy's hovering. He walks up, and he's like, what do you want? And Sammy's like, look, I'm not here for a fight, but I heard what you said Friday and tonight. You're dedicating the match to Roman. He's like, look, we took your titles in the main event. You get the chance to win them back, and you're not even doing it for you? You don't think that's weird? I have news for you. We aren't losing, but what happens if you come up short when you put his name in your match? whatever happens isn't going to be good. And you don't deserve that, Jay. Jay's like, why do you care, Sammy? Sammy's like, because I feel bad. He said, don't feel bad. We're going to take back our titles. Don't worry about me anymore because you made your choice. Like it or not, I made my choice too. But Jay is always so good.
I know.
When Sammy's giving him the lowdown, and you see Jay's like acting decisions are always so solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really are. They really are. Then we got a video package about Trish turning heel, and then we got an interview with Trish, and she's asked, hey, do you know where Becky is, and why she isn't here? And then Trish says, why is she not here? Oh, you don't know? I have a little secret. Becky's not doing so good. She opened up to me and said that she has a lot of pressure being at the top of the women's division and being the man and being a mom, and I understand. I'm a mom as well. I have a lot going on, but I'm thriving. Becky, not so much. I could see her cracking and had to take her out of her misery. She should be resting at home and saying, thank you, Trish. And then Kathy says, all right, well, thank you for your time. And Trish just goes, you get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You get it.
After that, we had the Street Profits versus Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. And we get a win here for the Street. This is fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Got a win for the Street Profits. Fans are really into the Street. It was a good Chicago crowd last night. Although they started a what Finn during his promo, but he was able to. You could tell he like switched gears with how he started doing his cadence and stuff.
Yeah, the cadence.
Yeah, smart move on his part. Ford. Dawkins hits a spine buster on Alexander, and then Ford tags in, gets a frog splash to get the win. So yeah, solid win for the Street Profits. After that, bow down to the game. It's the game of games. So he comes out, and so one thing that I noticed, did they show the podium with the title in the little bag before? They did a really good job framing that out during his entrance and everything, because I didn't notice it.
I didn't notice it either. No.
All right. So anyways,
yeah. So he grabs the mic, says, the WWE superstar had the incredible privilege to compete at the highest level for you all. I had the privilege of standing here at WrestleMania 22 in Chicago defending the WWE title against John Cena. It says, now I have the incredible privilege that WWE can be what it is for generations to come. And that is why I'm here tonight to talk about Roman Reigns.
The
undisputed WWE Universal Champion, who's come up on 1,000 days as champ. 1,000 days. Incredible and unheard of in the modern era. He defended against everybody. Like I say, after 30 years, I can't find many to hang with Roman. He is that damn good. Along the way, Roman did something very smart, something any intelligent superstar would have done. He negotiated himself to not have to defend the title as frequently. Well, I don't blame him. It isn't great for WWE. WWE deserves more. You deserve more. You need more than that. And that is why a few weeks ago when I talked about the draft, it would change WWE to at its core. When Roman gets drafted, he will take the WWE Universal Undisputed Championship with him and stay there. The other brand will determine a new champion. On Saturday, May 27th, at Night of Champions, we will crown a new World Heavyweight Champion. There's the belt.
Yep.
And he says, this will be a champion you can respect, admire, and be proud of. This is a champion who will defend it anytime, any place, all over the world. This champion will not have to demand your acknowledgement. He will earn your acknowledgement and earn the title of World Heavyweight Champion.
There's one snag here. What if whoever wins this turns into an asshole and decides they don't want to defend it very often?
Yeah, no.
Like, is there some sort of contractual obligation that comes with winning the title, perhaps?
You got to defend it once every 30 days. If not,
maybe that could
yank. You'll lose it.
That could be. I want to see that fine print. I want to see
Exactly.
the contract.
Exactly.
All the details. Which paragraph does it say this person has to defend
Yes.
it?
Yes, exactly.
What subsection? Can we get Frank Ledger for an audit, please?
Yes.
Of that contract.
So I was looking up on the original run of the LWO here. Apparently, the idea of it kind of got cut short because Eddie was in a car accident in early 1999.
Oh wow! When did it form?
October
of '98.
October of '98. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah. All I saw on the Wikipedia page when I was looking it up was like it was disbanded by Ric Flair when he became commissioner, something rude like that.
Well, it was so the two factions of the NWO got back together, and I remember this: they attacked the LWO.
Okay,
and then apparently, this is all according to Wikipedia, the NWO approached LWO and demanded they disband immediately or face further consequences, and that's what Ric Flair said. Man. Hey, join the fight for WCW.
Not gonna lie, that sounds bogus. LWO. Really cool logo, though.
Maybe I misremembered entirely the formation of the LWO.
Dude, it was like 30 years ago.
It was almost 30 years ago.
It was such a long time ago. So, yeah. Crowd seemed to be into the title. The crowd seemed they didn't dump all over like they did the Universal title.
No.
Maybe they should have, like, I wonder if they learned their lesson. Like, if we're going to debut a new title, let's not spring it on people at the event, because then they're going to just piss all over it during the match. Let's debut it a couple weeks in advance. If they don't like it, they'll get over it by the time the match takes place. No word on what the scenario is going to be that's going to lead to finding the challengers, though, right? Like, he didn't say we're going to do a tournament or anything like that.
No, he just said the first champion will be crowned at Night of Champions.
All right, well, there you go.
That was the extent of it.
He's going to give it to Seth like Eric Bischoff gave it to him.
No, maybe. Yeah. Here you go, Seth.
Here you go, Seth. People like you a lot.
You're the one person that Roman didn't beat, so.
You're the guy that makes all the sense in the world to have it from a business standpoint. You're the plus delta.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, that sort of also kills one of my predictions, I think. That Seth Rollins is going to SmackDown, yeah. Roman going to SmackDown, though. I got that one right. That's totally happening.
That's hardly even
What?
That's such a gimme.
Yeah, I know. That's okay.
That should be like a half point. That should be worth a full point.
You had gimmies too, fool. What are you talking about?
What gimmies did I have?
You had two of them.
What?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention, but you literally said these were two gimmies.
I was talking about you. I said you had two gimmies.
No, you were talking about yourself, man.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
You just said that you made yourself. You weren't even paying attention.
No, I know, but I do remember that aspect of it. Because I was like, I've got like two gimmies and you've got, no, I said I have three gimmies and you have two gimmies.
Okay.
After that, we had a Judgment Day interview. Kathy's backstage with Priest and Judgment Day. Finn asks if he's invisible and Priest says, go. Wait, okay, so that's why I don't remember Dom. I don't remember seeing this.
Oh, you didn't watch this?
Yeah, was this good?
It was fine. Yeah. Priest is asked about Bunny being there. And he goes, yeah, I think it's awesome. It's great. He's a megastar. Top artist on Spotify. His success with WWE, but only when I had his back. If he wants to get involved again, he's going to go through a table again. I'm not shy about it. I'm a bad guy, but I didn't go to Coachella and interfere in his business. I look forward to seeing him tonight. And Dom says, yeah, Bad Bunny can watch you take out my deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
Damien says, to be fair, the entire planet is going to see me exterminate Rey Mysterio.
That does sound good. Dang it, I got to go back and watch that now. After that, we had a Bronson Reed video package. I like these video packages. They're doing a lot more for him than whatever they've done with him in the past.
Yeah.
After that, we have the Bloodline talking backstage. Jimmy says, and you're going to super kick Sammy because I'm going to super kick Kevin Owens in the face. It's going to be a big super kick party, you know? Because I'm main event Jim Uso, right-hand man Jim Uso. And he says, you hear me, Jay? And Jay's like, uh-huh. And Jimmy's like, dude, are you all right? And Jay's like, whoa, you ever think about, like, what happens if we don't win these titles back on Friday? What's going to happen then? And Jimmy's like, where are you getting this from? He's like, Sami Zayn. And he was like, what? You were talking to Sammy? Leave that fool alone. All he's got is mind games for you. And then Solo sort of calms Jimmy down with one wave of the hand.
Yeah.
And he sits back down. And he's like, you can't talk to Sammy, man. You got to stay focused. He's like, all I'm saying is, what if we don't win? And Jimmy's like, listen, we got to go out there and do what we always do. We're going to win our titles back. We're going to win for the tribal chief. Come on, man. And then he walks out. So I kind of feel like there's no way those guys are winning those titles back now.
Yeah, it seems like a long shot at this juncture. But then they were kind of like teasing issues between Sammy and Kevin Owens too. Nobody wins.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams break up.
What happens to the titles?
Perfect reason to split them up. The titles. Double tournament.
Okay. So the match doesn't happen?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. Instead,
no, they break up during the match. Like one member of each team walks out and the other.
Okay. That's good.
And then the other person chases after him to try to get the team back together. And the ref's like, all right, double count out. Nobody wins.
Double count out. Nobody wins. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. That's good.
What a thrilling conclusion to the main event of SmackDown on Friday, huh?
They just bring the lights down.
Exactly. Draft over.
Everybody just sort of, draft over. WWE canceled.
Then we got Damage Control taking on Bianca and her partners, the tag champs, Raquel Rodriguez and Watch Me, Liv Morgan.
Watch me.
And then Watch Me. Bianca gets the win here on Bayley again. Bianca just always has Bayley's number.
Yeah, that little that bump that Io took from it was like the second rope or something just to the floor.
Yeah.
God, that was gnarly. And
Yeah.
then Io was pissed off that Bayley lost that match for her team. She gets in there. She gets pissed off. So, yeah. And then Io just screams in Japanese at Bianca at the end there. Yeah, they doing this match at a freaking Backlash or something?
What, Io and Bianca?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was announced in the show that it's on at Backlash.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. That makes sense. After that, we had a really long Austin Theory promo.
Yes.
It was so long.
It was.
And he just talked and talked and talked. And then Lashley comes out. And he's like, you hear that? And he's like, kid. He's like, yeah, I called you kid. The only problem I have is you're holding my title. You're over here running your mouth saying you're the greatest U.S. champ ever. He says, let me tell you something. Bobby dropped a let me tell you something in here. He says, when are you going to step up? When are you going to face every challenge that comes your way? You can't keep running away from obstacles you should be running towards. Let me tell you something. I've been in the ring with you. I know how tough you are, which is a weird line given that Austin Theory is like the least tough. Like in character, he's not very tough. He says, you're young, you're hungry, and you're tough. So what is it? Are you lazy and you don't want to work? Are you scared? You should welcome every opportunity to fight for that title because I would. So you asked, he says, you asked who requested this match because Austin Theory was crowing about the triple threat match.
Yeah.
He says, I did. It was easy. He says, you did? Was it that easy? If that it was that easy, where was your request for a match at WrestleMania then, Bobby? Bobby's like, He says, I should knock your teeth down your throat for saying that.
Yeah, not happy.
Yeah. So anyways, all that, John, leads to Theory trying to attack Bobby. He ducks, takes Theory down, starts punching him. Bobby, they go to the outside. Bobby throws him to the barricade. Bronson Reed appears. He just teleports in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Starts brawling with Lashley. Him and Reed start double teaming. Theory and Reed start double teaming Bobby. Theory holds Bobby against a post. Reed splashes him against it. They pick him up, roll him in. Theory hits A-Town down. And then Reed squashes Theory, then hits a senton, climbs up, and gets Theory with a massive tsunami to a big pop right there. He actually got a crowd reaction.
Yeah.
He holds up the belt and stares at the carnage, so he's totally not winning that thing. Neither is Bobby Lashley. Austin Theory's going to win that.
Yeah, Austin Theory's going to win this one. So we go back to earlier in the day. We got Boogs. We got Elias backstage talking. And Boogs is like, I don't understand anything that's going on right now. Explain it to me. And so Elias says, I don't want you overwhelmed. It says, Chad Gable, come over here. And he says, all right, tell him one more time. And so Elias hands Boogs the thing where you use the spring in it. You flex your shoulders, I guess. And he starts pumping away at it. And then Gable says, well, how can I help? Or how does that help? And then Elias says, it helps the blood flow to his brain. And so Gable then explains the draft. He says, some superstars eligible night 1. The rest of them, whoever's left, eligible night 2. And if you're in a team, you better get drafted with your partner or else your team is kaput. Rest assured, I made sure to be drafted alongside Otis. The academy will remain intact. And then Maxine Dupree walks up and says, that's interesting because I've ensured that wherever Otis goes, I go. And Gable says, but that's my number 1 guy. And Maxine says, no, he's my number 1 guy. So they're arguing back and forth. And then Otis cuts them off. And then Ali chimes in. He says, with WWE draft, you need to think more positive, Ali. Chad, I know you're worried about losing your best friend and number 1 guy, but think about it. You could reach your full potential, and you could be the new world heavyweight champion. I mean, that would mean the end of the academy, and no one would care because you're a loser without Otis, just like you're a loser tonight in our match. And then Gable shooshes him. And Otis says, this man, Chad Gable, is going to show you a shakedown. And Ali says, I'm positive, Ali, sure. You just made a big mistake. And he walks off. And then Chad and Maxine continue to argue about Otis. And Otis says there's enough love to go around.
Was one of your predictions that Alpha Academy are going to break up?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen now. They're going to do this for comedy's sake. They're going to all keep them on the same brand. It's going to be like, oh, who's going to get Otis? Who's going to get Otis? It's going to be the same conundrum. They're going to do that for comedy's sake. They're going to stay together. And like the joke will continue ad nauseum.
With no end in sight.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what's going to happen.
Maybe Otis will be drafted to one brand and Otis will be drafted to another.
I like that. That's good. That'd be good. Yeah. After that, they show Bad Bunny showing up late to call time as he's still on his. This is Chris Garrick's joke here in the notes here. It says Bad Bunny showing up late to call time as he's still on his way to the arena. Well, he's Bad Bunny. He's coming direct from Coachella.
He's a huge star, yes.
He's a big star. He can do what he wants.
Massive.
After that, we had Chad Gable versus Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali got the win here with, it was like a roll-up, wasn't it?
It was a roll-up, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. He's getting wins. I don't know about this thing of his, the positive Ali thing, but he seems to be diving into it,
Yeah, of all the other gimmick ideas he's had, this is probably the least interesting. Like some of that stuff that he had shot on his own was awesome.
I know, but it was so over the head of Vince McMahon.
I know
that it was never gonna work in WWE. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work anywhere. Nobody's gonna. It's a bummer because you just want to put some faith into your wrestlers and let them roll with stuff.
I know,
but seemingly nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, it's a bummer. But yeah, he gets the win here, so that's great. So then you see Sammy walking backstage. Jimmy Uso approaches him, says, "I see what you're doing, playing these mind games with Jay." And Sammy goes, "I'm not playing mind games. I'm just telling him the truth." And Jimmy says, The truth is on Friday. We take back what's ours. You keep saying that, what if we lose? But what if you lose? You think Kevin is going to forget all the times you kicked him in the face? I don't, because I was right there beside you every single time you did it. So he never forgave you. He just used you to get the tag titles. And when you lose those on Friday, he's going to turn on you, and you're going to deserve every bit of it. Don't worry about my brother, Oos. Worry about yours. Oos. It was really good from Jimmy here.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Oos. Then we had Finn Balor versus Cody Rhodes. They gave this match a ton of time. It did only take, if I'm not mistaken,
a single crossroads. That's correct.
Single crossroads.
But it was preceded by a pedigree.
That's true, yeah, which probably could have got the job done on its own.
Well, Cody's not Triple H, so I don't know about that.
I feel like he's learning how to put the Triple H stank into it, so at some point, he's going to be able to use that as a finish. Maybe not, I don't know. One Crossroads got the job here done after the pedigree, like you said. Cody Rhodes gets the win. They recap the Bad Bunny segment again, and then we get a Seth Rollins promo. And he just talks up the World Heavyweight Championship. He says, some of us still want to fight, and this is an opportunity for us to fight. He's staring at the title, yelling at it. He says, this is an opportunity to push the industry forward, to have a world champion. It isn't about politics and part-timers. If we're going to crown a new World Heavyweight Champion and Night of Champions, I'll give you one guess on who your money is on and on who to put your money on. And then we get the answer to that question. It's Amos, because he comes out last, or he comes out after that. I feel like this segment probably should have preceded the announcement that this match was going to happen at Backlash,
yes.
Larson.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, anyways, he comes out, MVP. They have a stare-off. Of course, Seth has to crank his neck all the way up because Amos is like 8 feet tall. He says, MVP says, Seth, please forgive the interruption. I mean no disrespect. I respect you immensely. He says, you're one of the most impressive superstars ever. He says, you've accomplished virtually everything there is to accomplish. He runs down his fashion choices, though. He says, it's my responsibility to get the giant matches. And a win for Amos over Seth Rollins would be huge. And with no due respect, I will caution you about your predictions about your future, because when the Nigerian giant is finished with you, you might not have much of a future after Backlash. And then Seth says, he says, we should thank Mr. MVP for the kind words, but I got to be honest, you undersold your giant. He's the tallest man I've ever seen in my life. Strongest, most powerful force in WWE. Amos, you are once in a generation because you were born that way. Seth freaking Rollins is once in a generation because I made myself that way. I should be afraid, but I'm not. And at Backlash, I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to make you famous. I'm going to give you the best Mitch, and I'm going to bounce your big head off this canvas. And when you wake up from your 3-second nap, an arena of people will be singing my song, which they start singing. And then Seth leaves. And then after that, we have Riddle backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a bit more the old school Riddle.
Yeah, he is. He's talking about the film Little Giants and how they ran a play called the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then he's explaining all this to Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens looks like he wants to be anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So Sammy finally walks in, and Kevin Owens is like, where have you been? Where have you been all night?
Yeah.
And Sammy says, look, it hasn't been a great night. And Owens says, you haven't had a great night all night. And he keeps pointing at Riddle. So Sammy goes, I don't want to say anything, but I was talking to Jay, then I talked to Jimmy. Kevin Owens is like, why? Why would you possibly still want to talk to those guys? What is it? Please don't tell me it's about what Roman might do to them. I don't care. I used to like them too before they became Roman's cronies, but it's too late. They haven't figured it out by now. They're beyond hope. We have to win on Friday, and that's what I'm worried about. You should be worried about too. And Riddle tries to interject, and Owens just leaves, walks off. And Riddle says, I know exactly what you're going through. And Sammy stares at him for a while. He says, how could you possibly know? And Riddle says, you remember RK Bro, the little team I had with Randy Orton? Everyone said week after week he would RKO me, and he never did. We're bros, and at the end of the day, you're bros. Win, lose, or draw, everything will be cool, bro.
Yeah, I thought this was a good sort of in-between with, Riddle being kind of serious, not being overly comedic, but still retaining some amount of personality.
Yeah. Then we had our main event. They advertised Brock Lesnar is going to be back. And then Bad Bunny's finally showed up.
Yeah.
And then we had our main event, Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest, and Rey gets the win here via DQ because Priest throws a chair at him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The
real shit happened after the match.
Yeah, after the match, and that's when Bad Bunny shows up. Mm-hmm. So Priest hits Rey with a South of Heaven. He drags Rey out and clears off the announce table. That's when Bad Bunny makes his entrance with the kendo stick, and he just starts beating Priest with the kendo stick all over the place. And eventually Priest takes his leave. Then Bad Bunny gets on the announce table, grabs the mic, says, hey, Damien, I don't know if you know, but I'm not hosting Backlash anymore. Now I'm going to Puerto Rico to kick your ass. May 6th in Mi Casa, Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest in a street fight.
Ooh,
and then Priest just screaming at him.
That. Yeah.
Says, I'll kill you in Puerto Rico.
In real life.
You're talking to Damian Priest, son.
You're talking to Damian Priest, son. All right, let's go ahead and answer some questions. We got some question threads. Of course, you can ask questions here at Going In Raw via one of two ways. On the patreon.com/Steven Larson. At $5 and up, you can get access to the question threads. Or you can click join on the YouTube. You also get access to our weekly bonus episodes and the big upcoming May predictions challenge. You could become the new predictions champion here at Going In Raw via the May predictions challenge. Are you ready to wrestle the champ? Of course, the enforcer right now is the current champion.
Yes.
Will he retain? If he puts in his picks at 4 o'clock in the morning,
odds are good.
He'll retain. The odds are pretty good there.
Odds are pretty good. Yeah. I got a question here from Sebastian Garcia. Which two wrestlers would you like to see compete for the World Heavyweight Championship at Night of Champions? Seth Rollins. I think the idea of Seth and Finn is a great one.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're referencing SummerSlam. When they fought for the Universal Championship when that debuted. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I agree. Let's see here. Do you think Dave Matushek says, do you think the WWE is going to try to attach the old big gold belt lineage to this lineage?
Isn't the old World Heavyweight title lineage wrapped into the WWE title now?
Technically, yes.
Yes.
But I think they could probably pry it back away.
I mean, it's a scripted show. They can do whatever they want. But yeah.
I think technically wouldn't Orton have been the last? No. Cena.
Well, when Daniel Bryan won at 30, he had both belts.
He did. And then after that, God, I used to know this. I want to say it was Brock.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I want to say it was Brock. Was the last one. Does anybody know? Somebody in chat knows. Somebody in chat should know this.
When they just said, all right, one belt now.
I think it was Brock.
That sounds right.
Did Brock take it off Cena? After Daniel Bryan, after 30? Cena was the last one who held it solo.
Yes. Well, Brock had it going into 31.
Brock had it going into 31. Is that what you said?
Yeah. He had to go into 31 because he defended against Roman, and that's when Seth cashed in.
Okay. Okay. Eastside Review says technically Brock would be the last since he was the last to hold the big gold belt. Okay, that's what
Because when Seth cashed in, he just had the one belt. He was
right. Yeah. I think 31 is when the last is the first time Brock just carried the solo title in.
Yeah, Die Hard Homer says on August 18th, 2014, an episode of Raw, a single redesigned WWE title belt was presented to then champ Brock Lesnar.
Is that when they changed the design to the network logo?
Must have been.
Instead of the messy scratch logo?
Didn't they do that when they gave the belt? They had that new belt for The Rock. They didn't have the scratch logo then, did they?
The belt for The Rock was the first scratch logo. That was when they did the big logo.
Yeah.
Because before that it was the spinner title.
Yeah.
And it was the big scratch. It was like it is now, but with the scratch logo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Rock had the scratchy logo, and then I'm assuming Brock had they gave the network title.
The updated one. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a mess. So it would be Brock, and then you pick up the lineage with this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's called the same thing. It's the same name, and clearly it's just an updated version of the big gold belt.
Yeah.
So they should do that.
Yeah.
All right. Derb says, if you guys were booking the world title tournament, who are some standouts you would want in it? I think like Bronson Reed should have a really good showing.
Mm-hmm.
Because he needs something.
Nakamura should have a good showing.
Oh, that's good.
And if have someone from NXT that's got called from NXT have a really good showing in it.
Oh, that's good. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, only to like lose to the eventual winner of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be pretty neat.
A lot of lineage questions here.
Yeah, I got that too.
Because Mute Krabby says, I'm concerned they'll drop the WWE title lineage with the Universal title going forward. No, look, the WWE title lineage is going to be part of the Undisputed Championship.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to fold into... Look, the Universal title lineage is not that impressive. It really isn't. It's not a big deal.
No.
But no, there's no way they're going to scrap... Going back to, what is it, 62? They're not going to scrap that stuff, man.
No. Shavon here says we can agree Seth would be the perfect first person to win the new championship. However, who are some names that would be the worst? I would hate to see it, but it wouldn't surprise me if Logan Paul got his win back from Seth. Logan did tweet something after the new belt was unveiled. So
that would be one of the worst. That'd be terrible. I don't see it happening. That'd be terrible.
Yeah, that would be pretty lame.
The Miz would be the worst.
Yeah.
That'd be awful.
Yeah.
Dolph.
Dolph.
That would be pretty bad. That'd be pretty awful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other like worst. Like Brock would be bad.
Yeah.
That would suck. I'd pop if it was Corbin. Let's
Cider
see.
Pug says Theory. Austin Theory.
Oh, that would be the absolute worst. Yeah. Let's see here. Michael Forbes has a great comment. Says, I find it funny how Punk can make amends with people in WWE, but not the ones in the company that is currently employing him.
Well, I mean, if what Meltzer said was true, he's not even allowed to contact them. That would make it kind of difficult to make amends.
Man, that's weird. I still think
it is weird.
He's not allowed to text them.
I know that's weird.
I'm sorry if it's something,
Well, can they contact each other through like their respective lawyers or agents or something?
Right. Like, hey, I would like you to tell Matt or
Write a
Nick
letter.
rather that I'm sorry that he got hit with a chair.
Yeah.
He can't do that.
Yeah.
That's asinine. I think he can do that.
Yeah, I think you should be able to do that. Because how does Tony Khan expect any reconciliation to happen if no one's allowed to communicate with each other?
Yeah, right. Mike Stevens says, how should the first champion be crowned? He says he'd love to see a G1 style tournament. Vince doesn't like tournaments. But they got to do a tournament of some sort.
You think so, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see here.
Alex Foster says, if the Usos got suspicious of Solo, what should they talk about in front of him to throw him off the trail? Like they're worried he's a mole for Roman.
There's everything they say. Yeah.
This goes back to Roman.
Right. Well, they should just be like, hey, you know what? The spread they got on the bus is always so great.
Yeah.
And then Roman's like, what are they talking about? food. You know, they're really happy with the food that you provide them. Tribal
Or
chief.
how about this? This is what you do. It's not that, hey, this food's great. You say, this food's pretty good, but, you know, steak's been sitting there a little bit. It's a little dry.
Oh, wow.
And so then maybe Roman hears that and it's like, oh, maybe if I upgrade food, they would be happier and not maybe question me so much.
Yeah, that could be.
And so he upgrades the food, and the Usos, we only said this in front of one person, and that's Solo.
No, that's good. Yeah. They're like, you know, man, Roman keeps on getting these oatmeal cream pies. We wanted some Swiss cake rolls. And then you see Swiss cake rolls.
Yeah,
you know.
and some Star Crunches in there, too.
Still some Star Crunches, yeah, because Solo likes the Star Crunch.
How can you not like the Star Crunch?
Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of people talking about the lineage here.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here, stuff that we've covered already.
Okay, yeah, same.
Chris Standen asked, what would Von Wagner have said to Punk if you ran into him backstage at Raw? Hey.
You are a punk. What? That's just a terrible. That's not even a burn, really. Yeah. Anyways, on that note, on that limp note, we're gonna call it a day.
Sure.
So thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.